A robot making a balloon dog stopped everyone in their tracks. At a major robotics conference earlier this year, two robotic hands slowly twisted a long, thin balloon into loops and bends and joints. The kind of balloon animal a birthday clown makes in about 30 seconds. The robot took longer, but it didn't pop it. And that, it turns out, is the hard part. People stopped walking. They watched. Then they went and got their colleagues and came back to watch again. Because what they were seeing wasn't just a clever trick. It was a demonstration of something the robotics world has been chasing for a long time: the ability to feel. We've spent years obsessing over robot movement, how fast a robot arm can swing, how precisely it can position itself, how many axes it can move on, and we've gotten really good at that. Modern robots can place components onto circuit boards with sub-millimeter accuracy. They can weld, paint, and assemble with remarkable consistency. But here's the problem. All of that assumes the world stays predictable. It assumes the part is always in exactly the right place. It assumes the surface never changes. It assumes nothing slips. Real life doesn't work that way. When you pick up a glass, you're not just calculating a grip position. You're constantly adjusting. You feel the weight shift. You sense the moment it starts to slip and tighten your fingers before it falls. You do all of that without thinking about it. Robots can't do that. Not yet. Most of them are essentially working blind when it comes to touch. That's what makes tactile sensing such a big deal right now. It's not about making robots move better. It's about giving them a whole new sense. And that changes what they can actually do in the real world. Think about what touch tells you. It tells you how much force you're applying. It tells you the texture and hardness of what you're holding. It tells you when something is about to slip. It tells you the shape of an object even when you can't see it. That's an enormous amount of information. And robots have been flying without it. The balloon dog demonstration makes this concrete. Balloons are one of the most unforgiving materials you can work with. Too much pressure and they pop. Too little and the twist doesn't hold. The tension changes as you work along the balloon. Every bend affects the ones before and after it. Camera can't tell you any of that in real time. You have to feel it. So what does tactile sensing actually look like in hardware? There are a few different approaches being developed right now. Some systems use arrays of tiny pressure sensors embedded in a flexible skin that covers the robot's fingertips or palm. Others use optical methods, where a camera inside a soft fingertip watches how the surface deforms when it makes contact. Some use electrical resistance changes. Some use magnetic fields. Each approach has trade-offs around sensitivity, durability, and cost. The software side is just as hard as the hardware. Raw touch data is noisy and complex. Turning it into useful signals that a robot can act on in real time requires a lot of processing. And then you have to connect that to the control system so the robot actually adjusts its grip or its force based on what it's feeling. That closed loop from sensing to decision to action has to happen fast, faster than the object can slip or break. What's changed recently is that machine learning has gotten good enough to help here. Instead of hand-coding rules for every situation, you can train a model on thousands of contact interactions and let it learn what good touch feels like for a given task. That's made tactile guided manipulation a lot more practical than it was even a few years ago. And the timing matters because the applications are piling up. In manufacturing, you want robots that can handle parts that vary slightly in size or shape without stopping the line. In logistics, you want robots that can pick up a soft package and a glass bottle and a loose bag of produce without treating them all the same way. In surgery, robotic tools that can feel tissue resistance could make procedures safer. In elder care or rehabilitation, robots that can assist with physical tasks need to know how hard they're holding someone's arm. All of those scenarios require touch, not just better cameras or more precise motors. Actual contact intelligence. There's a phrase starting to circulate in robotics research circles: contact intelligence. The idea that how a robot manages the moment of physical contact with the world is its own discipline, separate from motion planning, separate from vision. Its own layer of capability that needs to be designed, trained, and refined. For a long time, robotics researchers actually tried to minimize contact. The goal was to plan motions so precisely that the robot never had to deal with unexpected forces. Get the geometry right and you don't need to feel anything. That worked in controlled factory settings. It doesn't scale to the messy real world. The shift now is toward embracing contact. Letting the robot touch things, feel what's happening, and use that information. That's a philosophical change as much as a technical one, and it's starting to show up in products, not just research papers. We're still in the early innings. Most commercial robots don't have meaningful tactile sensing today. The sensors are expensive. They're fragile. They add complexity, but the trajectory is clear. Costs are coming down. Durability is improving. And the gap between what a robot can do with touch versus without it is just too large to ignore. The balloon dog is a good symbol for all of this. It's not a useful industrial task, but it captures something real. It shows a robot navigating an object that fights back, that changes under pressure, that requires constant adjustment. That's what the real world looks like. and robots that can handle that are a lot more valuable than ones that can't. Touch might be the sense that finally makes robots feel at home outside the factory floor.